Okay, so we're gonna finish dicing the onion. Phone just doesn't want to stay up there. Alright. And what I did is I cut a little chunk off this side so that way it's a little bit easier to set when you're cutting the rest of the onion. So just cut like this. Now I'm going to use the whole onion. So when you get down to the onion like this, you can just cut it the rest of the way.
I got a cutting board, Mike. Hey, I got a cutting board.
Thank you.
I thought you knew it was that singer up there.
No, I did not. So everybody, this is my aunt. Yeah, so I'm cooking for her and her husband. I love to cook. My ultimate goal is to have a food truck. But that takes a lot of money to do. So I'm just seeing, just testing everything out. I got some really good recipes for different foods, different desserts, Alright, so now we got the onions cut up. We're going to go ahead and throw the onions in the crock pot. Now, again, remember when I told you that you want to wash your vegetables, which my aunt's in the process of breaking up the celery right now. I'm going to wash the celery because if you can see, there's dirt on there. Here's a better one. There's dirt right here on here. So it's best to cut your vegetables. Or clean your vegetables before you cut them.
I'll chop the end off. You want to use these two?
What?
You want to use all of it?
No.
Good. I'll use these with peanut butter on them. I know I ain't got
And that's the thing. She just said that she's going to eat this leftover celery with peanut butter. That's a perfect snack for your kids. I don't know who out there has kids or not, but a perfect snack for kids. It's healthy. It's peanut butter and celery. I know when I was a kid, it was one of my favorite snacks ever. The best peanut butter to use for that is Skippy. Skippy Crunchy. That's the best.
Or if they don't like crunchy, there's the smooth.
Another thing is when you're cutting up the celery, if you have little stems like that on there, just cut it off, and it will, You always want to cut the top end off and the bottom end off.
Oh, I thought you'd cook the whole thing. why aren't you using? You could use the cutting board.
You are using the cutting board right now.
I'm done with it. I ain't gonna tell you whose name your grandmama put on there. You scream bloody murder.
So the way we're gonna cut this celery is we're gonna cut it along the backbone of the celery, and then we're gonna dice it up. That's the best way to do celery that way. You get smaller chunks. Your food isn't overpowered with celery. Another thing sometimes I like to put in roast is cilantro. I don't have cilantro. It gives it a really good flavor. And you don't need very much of it, because if you put too much in it, you'll overpower it. Alright, so when you're done, this is what your celery should look like. These are perfect small pieces of celery to put in a roast.
So move that flash.
As I drop the bowl on the floor. Go ahead and wash it out, please. That's one thing. If you're whatever you use, whatever you're doing, cooking with, using to cook, whatever. If you drop something on the floor, don't reuse it, because you don't know what germs and everything is on there, and you can get really sick from just the smallest germ. I am SurfSafe certified, so I've gone through the class. I've taken the test and everything. And if you do go out and get a SurfSafe, your certificate, it's good for 5 years.
What are you doing, Jackson? Thinking you're gonna get something? Oh, yeah. Nice starting to get dull.
This is a simple thing to do when you're doing a roast. It's easy recipe. There's nothing really to it. All you need is just your meat, your vegetables, your seasonings. That's it, really. Your liquid, whatever you're using for liquid. You can use from beef broth to chicken broth to whatever broth you choose to use. I like using water. And just a little bit of milk, not very much. Because when you're doing when you use water, you actually make your own broth. So you really don't need to use chicken broth or chicken stock or beef stock, or I like using the natural flavors from the meat, from the vegetables, the seasonings. Yeah, so I mean, it tastes really good. The flavor's very good, and not only is the vegetables and seasoning and stuff that you're using flavoring it, but it's also flavoring the meat. You'll get flavor in the meat when you do the
You want me to put this in the refrigerator?
yeah.
I thought it was butter, but it says sweet cream.
No, it's butter. It's sweet cream butter is what it is.
I would eat this tonight, but I ain't got my teeth in, so we'll put it in the Ziploc baggie and stick it in the refrigerator.
Always remember before you start cooking, wash your hands. That's just, I don't care if you're at home or what. If you're in a restaurant, the law is that you have to wear gloves. That's what the FDA regulation is. You have to wear gloves. But when you're in your home, you don't have to, unless you have allergies to whatever. Then you have to. But I don't understand why you would. If you have allergies, let's say to onions or something like that, and you can't touch them, why would you even use it? You know what I'm saying? All right. So far, this is what we're working with. The meat's on the bottom, as you guys seen. Now it's going to be time for our seasonings. I like, myself, we're going to use cumin.
Salt and pepper. No salt.
Garlic powder. I'm going to use some pepper. Italian seasoning. Got a whole cabinet of seasonings here. Let's see here. You don't necessarily have to use meat tenderizer, but I'm going to, because it just
I usually put it on top of it.
it's just going to give that make the meat even more tender. And then we're also going to use crushed oregano. And
Whoops.
and then we're also going to use New Orleans Cajun, just to give it a tiny bit of spice. First thing though, before we do that, I need to find my garlic. I bought garlic, and now I can't find it.
Here. Whoops. I did have some. I have to throw it away.
Found it.
I got some too. But mine ain't been on the floor.
Oh, we gotta wash it still.
I got this
All
one
right.
time to use them.
Depending
Organic garlic.
on how much garlic you like, you use, you want, whatever. I don't know. That's a pretty big piece of garlic there. I'm gonna use like 3 cloves of garlic. I got 1 really big clove, and I got 2 tiny small cloves. Like I said, we gotta wash our vegetables. Easiest way to break open garlic. You're going to take your knife, you're going to take your garlic, and put your knife like this on top of it. When you do that, all you got to do is just press down on it. And then there's your garlic. Now they have a device out there that all you do.
It's a garlic press.
No. It's made out of a silicone, a little rubber piece thing, and you put your garlic in it, and you roll the thing.
Okay.
And it comes out just like I just did. The peel comes off of it.
We're gonna eat it. We're gonna eat it.
Alright. So I'm going to dice this. Try and dice this really fine.
Okay, we're not using this one, right?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna stick the trigger.
So I got my, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I got my meat from Fairway. I love Fairway meat. They always get fresh meat in. They're the best that I've ever gotten from, unless you go to an actual meat locker. Then, you know, I mean, that's your choice. But I like, grocery store wise, I like getting meat from Fairway. It's, you know, Fairway and Hy-Vee. I think Hy-Vee has good meat. I do not like Walmart meat. I never have. Their meat has horrible flavor to it. To me, when you get it, it looks old.
Somebody, I think, is about ready for bed. As soon as he gets the shower.
Then what I'll do is after the video, or after this is all done cooking through the night and everything, I will actually do a quick video of what it looks like. It's going to be very good, very flavorful, very, you know. About garlic, I've actually seen videos where they'll eat a clove of garlic a day. And it's actually proven to be very healthy for you. I don't know what it is about garlic, but it detoxifies your system. I've heard different stories to where there was a gentleman that had some type of cancer, and he started eating a clove of garlic a day, and he went back in for a checkup, and his cancer was gone. Now, whether it was the garlic that did it, or just the treatments that he did, I don't know. But garlic is a very, very strong, you want to say medication? I don't know what you would really consider it. Alright. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put our seasonings together in a little bowl, and then we'll dump them in. So we're going to start out with the cumin, and you don't need very much of cumin. Cumin's very strong. Let's see here. I'm also a fisherman. I love to fish. Try to go out as much as I can. I'm gonna give a shout out to catandcarp.com. Been watching your videos. Love your videos. Cute little boys, by the way. So, anyways, this is about the amount of cumin that I use. Now, a lot of people's gonna think, "Wow, that's a lot." When you got a big pot like I have, it's really not. Cumin, like I said, cumin is a very strong seasoning. Now, also, I'm gonna do black pepper. Just to let you guys know, when it comes to doing cooking, I do not use salt in any of my food. I feel that salt it causes a lot of health problems. The only thing that I will use salt for is like if I'm doing noodles of whatever. Macaroni and cheese, if I'm making homemade macaroni and cheese, if I'm doing spaghetti, whatever, I'll put salt in with the water. It helps it. It helps it not stick. All right. Now we're gonna put the oregano in there. Now we're gonna do the meat tenderizer. And by the time this is done cooking, this meat is just it's gonna melt. I mean, it'll melt in your mouth. I've done this recipe many a different times. Okay, so now what we did is we mixed up the seasonings, and that's all. That's everything. And then you take it and you sprinkle it all over, everywhere. Now, once we're gonna do that, we're gonna put this thing on low. Like I said, remember, low. It cooks. It takes longer for it to cook. You want to cook it overnight. Now we need to add the water to it. Let's see here. So I'm going to start off with about that much water. You'll want to make sure that the water covers all of it. Like I said, some people likes to use chicken broth. Other people likes to use different chicken broth, beef broth. Some people makes their own. Gonna put just a little bit more water on it. As I'm doing this video, my daughter, we just went out yesterday and picked up my daughter's new puppy. It's a cute little thing. It's a Basset Hound Terrier mix. Really cute. And I posted it on Facebook, and I'm getting comments and likes and everything else. So now what you want to do is you want to mix the seasoning up in with the water and the vegetables and everything else. You can do this many different ways. I just like using my hands. It gets in there better. Alright, so now all you got to do, put the lid on it and let it cook away. And this will be ready by tomorrow. Now, you don't necessarily, to do a roast, you don't necessarily have to do a roast in a crock pot. You can do it in the oven, on a stove, but it's best, my advice is to do it in the crock pot. The reason why is because not all roasts are very, what's the word I'm looking for? Tender. Some of them are tough. So if you do them in a crock pot, the longer you cook them, the better off it is. It like I said, it just melts in your mouth. All right, so just a recap of what we did. So we went to Fairway and we got a meat bundle, but we got pork roast. We took the pork roast and we put it in the crock pot. On top of the pork roast, we put carrots in there. On top of the carrots, we did potatoes. On top of that, we did the onions and celery and garlic, and then we did the seasonings and we added the water. And all you got to do now is just let it cook. And then tomorrow I will get back on here and I'll show you the outcome.